Draft pod time coming at you now, loaded week 5. Why Malik Nabers breakout reminds us of what Travis Hunter's doing at wide receiver, linebacker, running back, and more options if the Broncos are good enough to be drafting in the teens. All coming to you right now. DNVR Draft Pod! That's right. It's Thursday, baby. It's that day we all got to remember to set our fantasy lineups. 5 dynasties, 2 redrafts for your boy. That's 7 total. So when I get home, I tell my girls, hey, I need 10 to set my lineup, so give it to me. Traffic better be good when I get home. We, of course, are coming to you from the Toyota studio. Toyota Lounge in it, as always, driven by your Front Range Toyota stores. Toyota, the official vehicle of DNVR. A special guest on this show. He left us for training camp.
Yep.
He left us for the start of the NFL regular season. Yep. He's back to talk some NFL long-term outlook, as always, as we do on the Draft Pod. Henry Chisholm, Montana's finest.
Wow, so true. So the nice thing now is that the Broncos are in West Virginia.
Yep.
I'm still in America.
Big 12
which means
country.
I don't have to. I'm not. I'm not going to.
Have they
I'm not
seceded?
practice.
Breaking news.
Wait, had they not?
They've seceded from the nation?
Wait,
Yeah.
West,
Do you think Zach brought his passport to observe the?
I would hope so. I don't know how else he'd get in.
Oh, no.
West Virginia, part of America.
Yeah.
No way. We got.
As long as
that
you
place
have
is the
a
worst.
dip in your lip, they actually
Yes.
that can forgo a passport.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
That's the West Virginia I know.
Crazy, huh? Big
Yeah.
12 country.
It is.
So true.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
the same country as us now.
So true.
As we are now in
we are
Big 12 country.
We're in
Yes.
Big 12 country, correct? Yeah.
Also known as America.
Facts.
Couldn't have said it
Wow,
better
we are really
myself.
laying down a lot of
Yep.
facts right now.
Nope, we're learning a lot today.
And I mean, if you thought Henry's intro was incredible, we wouldn't have Jake Schwanitz here if not for a very, very scary storm in Florida right now that hopefully will pass so that you can be in Central Florida tomorrow.
Wow.
And clear skies ahead.
We got transportation. We got credentials. We got a place to stay.
It's amazing.
We're making it happen.
Yeah, we're making it happen. I mean, come on. It's the most magical place in the world,
Wow.
Orlando, Florida.
That it is.
So-
you know, I was talking to Chris Abrams-Drain in the locker room last week.
Name drop.
Yes, I know, big time. Chris Abrams-Drain.
That's
You know him as the
sick.
guy who someday will get a uniform from the Broncos.
Well, Draft Pod, they know him.
Oh, draft.
Oh, definitely.
These guys know him intimately,
And
yeah.
you know what I asked him?
Second team All-American.
I asked him what his favorite vacation destination is. Orlando. And I was like,
Holy
my
cow.
guy. And so we were talking. He brought his kid.
Are
to
you
the-
an Orlando guy?
Oh, I love Disney World.
Oh my gosh.
I haven't been in about 20 years.
Are
so I'm
we
hoping,
all Orlando guys?
Orlandans? Yeah. Us and Chris Abrams-Drain.
Trip with the boys
He
to
brought
Disney
his
World?
son there to Animal Kingdom over the summer.
Legendary.
Said it was awesome.
I
And
was-
I would agree.
I was last spring break, and honestly, phenomenal. Huge Orlando guy. Jake, you're going to love it.
I heard the parks were shut down, though.
No. The golf course closer to the coast, silly goose.
Oh.
No.
Oh.
Animal
Excuse
Kingdom,
me.
Magic Kingdom,
Excuse
they
me.
don't just close that for
This
a
is
little
my first time going to Orlando.
a little category 3.
Or
You
to
got
Florida,
it.
in
You'll
general.
love it.
Never been to Florida?
Never been to Florida.
Oh, Orlando's got something special where it's like lots of Disney stuff, and you also might be stopped at a red light, and there might be, a missus who's dressed a little and arguing with a car.
Yeah.
It's such a great
It is.
duality of worlds. It's amazing.
I was looking just because, again, my girlfriend.
so great.
My girlfriend's birthday is President's Day weekend.
Leave us a thumbs up. This is our best compliment.
It really is. President's Day weekend. She's not a president, but it's the day before Nikola Jokic's, which is very easy to
Is he
remember.
president?
No, he also not.
When is Yoke's birthday?
February 19th.
The day before.
But
Oh, Yokness.
So that's why
Obviously.
I'm always able to remember Lexi's birthday is because it's the day before Nicola's
Legendary,
birthday.
yeah.
Point is, apparently that's a terrible weekend to
course.
go to Disney World because everybody
School
goes
is
long
closed.
weekend. Long weekend.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's-
exactly.
Wow.
Spring break.
Yep.
Yeah.
So guess what we're not doing for President's Day weekend / Lexi's birthday?
Are we
Not
still
going to
calling
Disney
it
World.
Oh, okay.
President's Day? Has that been changed?
No, that's the one
I
we
think
kept.
we're still
We're keeping
PC
and
there.
it's like
Yeah.
Lincoln's birthday, I think.
Well, because there used to be
Well, now
there
you
used to be
gotta
separate holidays. There used to be like a Lincoln's Day, a George Washington Day. But over time, we've kind of just like, yeah, maybe you all should just split the
you
one.
just get one.
Because the thing is,
I would have kept it. I
the
would have kept
presidents
it.
keep on coming, but there's only 365 days in a year.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
you,
fair.
eventually,
know-
it's like the Yankees retiring all those numbers.
I think
Right,
we'll be okay.
right.
We've got plenty of time.
Yeah. Well,
to
yeah,
get back on
365 presidents before the country ends.
right, maybe
Topic for a different
Wait, one
Alex-
last Florida story.
Oh, okay.
And we can use this to actually start the show here.
Yeah, this would be
Yeah.
great.
The only time I've ever been to Florida is I flew into Pensacola to take an hour Uber to Mobile for the Senior Bowl. And that was before I hung out with you in 2020. That year.
Pensacola, I get a feeling they produce a lot of talent out there.
hotbed.
Alex with a
Yeah.
great comment in the chat saying Orlando's weather sucks this time of year.
Yeah.
Here, Alex. It's why Jake couldn't fly out today. You nailed it,
Hurricanes.
buddy. This guy knows ball. So
Hurricanes, yeah.
you're on
Appreciate
it,
you,
Alex.
Alex.
100%.
Sucks, maybe an understatement.
Back on
Big
track.
understatement.
Yes.
We mocked it up for the Broncos last episode. It was electric and magical as anyone could imagine. Of
course.
Yes.
Go back to that because that's where we looked at options for the Broncos if they were drafting in the top 10. Well, gosh, after what I saw in Tampa Bay, I get a feeling maybe they might not be drafting so high after all. So I want a contingency plan. What if the Broncos were drafting in the teens and not the top 10?
I mean, I love a contingency pod.
Right?
This is the one we're going to call back to if things don't go as we expect.
We
course.
do that. We
Yeah.
do that. Yeah, 100%. And also, boy, running backs have been hard to find. Mr. Bidet is the only one who's gone over 20 yards and outrushed Bo Nix.
Some would say he's cleaned the Broncos' ass.
Wow. Cleaned the Broncos
guy's in rare
backfield
form
would have
today,
been
man.
a little more.
Oh, there we go.
Or backfield. Yeah, that would have been a little more subtle. And then, boy,
Yeah.
linebackers. Oof, 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 oof. You hate to see it, Alex Singleton going down with an ACL tear. Well, ironically, the draft's top-rated linebacker also out for the rest of the season with an ACL tear himself. Harold Perkins Jr., a favorite of ours since he jumped on the scene as a dominant freshman at LSU. It's a bit more of a hybrid, undersized edge, off-ball linebacker, but he is out for the season. And I'd start there with that conversation. Is Perkins now, who could drop, would he be the ideal guy to snatch up in the teens? Or after Drew Sanders' Achilles, Alex Singleton's ACL, is it maybe time to add someone to that linebacker room who has a non-season-ending injury, knee injury in his recent past?
I mean, availability is the best ability, right?
That's what they say.
That is
So
what they
true.
say. No,
That's
but
why
for
I'm
real.
so hyped about this pod, you know?
Of course. For real, though, this team has ignored linebacker for how many years? I'll believe it when I see it.
I mean, we're dating back to maybe Nate Irving, we were just speaking
we
about.
were,
yeah.
I mean, I really think that might be the last
Yeah.
top. Well, Drew Sanders, of course.
Yes.
But prior to Drew Sanders, I think you're going back to Nate Irving as the last top 100 drafted linebacker for the Broncos.
Yeah.
Too long.
Way too long.
Yeah.
And it's showing. We're going to see what this combination of replacements they have this week looks like. Obviously, Hank and Todd covered that extensively in the last pod.
Yes.
We were all watching. But outside of Perkins, we've had a big riser in Jalen Walker, the strong side linebacker for Georgia. Boy, does he look the part. He will have a phenomenal matchup against Alabama and that great offensive line. Walker, Tall, physical, rangy, athletic. I think he could place him on the edge. And I think he would be an ideal replacement of Alex Singleton.
Okay.
Because, right, I mean, he's their run-stuffing linebacker, and I do worry about Sternad replacing him. Mm-hmm. Are you missing out on the run defense? And I think a guy like Walker, who I want you all to dial in while we all watch Bama, Georgia this weekend, to be kind of the first one on your list.
I think that's a good call. I think, it's just so tough to justify a linebacker or a running back. Because as much as you look there and it's like, oh, Ashton Jeanty, like, how does he change the Broncos offense if you just plug him right in?
Totally.
I mean, with so many needs on the team still, it feels like things are going well and the vibes are good, but, all that's really changed is you don't need a cornerback anymore,
I know.
Receiver
I
can
know.
still
Cornerback could be great value in that range, too.
I know. And that's
Early
the
to
thing.
mid-teens.
I love picking in this range because typically
Good
you
range.
get a guy who you're like, oh, there's no way he's going to... Jerry Jeudy. It's like, there's no way Jerry Judy's going to be there at 12. And next thing you know, guess who's there? For good reason, Jerry Jeudy.
Kind of a terrible example, but yeah.
No, I mean, it
Tristan
didn't work
Wirfs,
out.
CD
It didn't work
Lamb.
out, but the vibes are so good.
Last year
Brock
Byron
Bowers.
Murphy just drops to the mid-teens,
Yes.
right?
Kyle Hamilton.
There you go.
And so
yeah.
you look through and say, like,
We're just
Hetero-
doing that thing guys love to
Yeah,
do. It's just
exactly. I just
saying
wanted to get
I do
players'
like saying
names.
the names. I do
Yeah.
like saying the names. But
That's
like you
so
look at like
best-
a Tedero
best
McMillan. No way he's there at 12, right? Until you go through the draft
Yes.
process. Oh, this guy ran a 4.29.
Yes.
It's like, well, you have to take him. Oh, this guy ran a 4.3. Well, then all of a sudden there's two up there plus Travis, and next thing you know, you get an awesome receiver. So I love the idea right now of saying like, yeah, go get the linebacker who's slipping. At the same time, though, it's like, well,
Or
the edge
rising.
rushers, the tackles, would it be more responsible to look elsewhere?
Premier positions is what we highlighted in talking about needs outside of quarterback and cornerback.
Mm-hmm.
All the premier positions, you feel like, yeah, the Broncos could get better. Wide receiver, offensive tackle, edge rusher. So, yeah, I mean, the question is, how high is too high for a running back or a linebacker? And are there any rule breakers, any outliers in this class who you're like, that Harold Perkins kid probably goes top 5, top 8?
I think Perkins could potentially be a rule breaker. Obviously, the health issue now, but
Yep.
he's going to have a good 5 months. I don't know if he'll be running full speed by then, but
That's the thing. Could he be fresh enough off his rehab to even run a 40 at the pro day?
right. But he would have put up numbers.
Timing could line up.
Running back, I don't think so. Like Ashton Jeanty's amazing. I don't think he's going to go test like John
Amazing.
Robinson though.
I think you're right.
So
I mean, it's just hard to do that. Judkins, Quinshon Judkins had a big week. He's starting to look really good. You have some other guys. Iowa's running back, Michigan's running back. Those
Yep.
guys are starting to play really well. But yeah, I think the Broncos would have to, at least make the playoffs to consider a running back in the first round.
for sure.
At the
And-
same time, though, you watch
And
him and think,
linebacker, I don't know.
if they had a running back, what would they be? Like, if they had a guy who was just giving them big number, like, would that change things? And running backs in the first round sometimes scare me just because, you have, like, the Najee Harrises out there where you're like, yeah,
Right.
we thought you were great, but it turns out you're fine.
Yeah.
And so
You got to be certain.
what is this
Yeah.
really worth? Because now you're a bad contract, too.
Yeah.
And Najee, maybe that's a stretch, but
And I think this is a better running back class than last year.
yes.
Yeah.
Better at the top, but also better options in the top 100 than you had last year.
Okay. I could get behind
So,
that.
right, so maybe you don't have to force the issue in the first. You wait for that mid-second round pick, which they'll have this year.
Totally. And
Love it.
if I were to throw one more
Please.
non-position of value guy out there, what about a Colston Loveland, tight end out of Michigan? You don't have a tight end right now. Colston Loveland is awesome. Maybe a little bit of a slow start to the season. Maybe
Yeah.
not the craziest start.
Yep.
But if you're picking there, say 18, and you get Colston Loveland right there, I would love that.
I mean, he's more than a tight end. He's a dynamic receiver, too.
Yep.
He showed that last year in spades. He's doing what he can this year, man.
Yep.
Michigan is just not going to be able to throw the football this season. But he's
Yeah.
awesome. He still has 19 receptions this year. He's been, one of their go-to guys, and he's someone who I think does translate to the NFL.
I think so too. I'm
Yeah,
curious.
he's a
This
good
is
name.
very off topic. Brock Bowers.
Yes.
I know you were a little bit lower on him because of the size. You thought he might have been a little bit small, might not have held up the blocking as well.
Yeah.
In watching him with the Raiders, he looks smaller than I thought he would.
Mm-hmm.
He does look like a little slot guy. Obviously, a great start to the season.
Great start.
I think you might have been kind of onto something there.
Well, I mean, it's just undersized, and you don't get testing.
True.
That it's hard to really put that elite grade that the tape would have certainly put in. You know.
Totally.
Choose chill. We've got a great comment in here poking fun at us with the Malik Nabers, Travis Hunter comps. I want to get into it because it's not just us, but the Travis Hunter wide receiver noise is picking up. How could it not?
Yes.
Are you not watching these games
Yes.
every Saturday? But of course, we're not going to get worked up on that. We're going to choose chill, my guys. We are going to choose
Always.
chill. All-time week 5 of college football coming up. Broncos on the winning side of things. Wow.
Feels good,
amazing.
man.
It feels incredible. Nothing better than enjoying that with a delicious Coors Light. Colorado to its core. Peak Colorado. A nice mountains turn blue, refreshing like the Rockies. Coors Light down the gullet as you're enjoying the best life has to offer. You know, that's the Coors Light way. That's our way, man. We've chosen chill.
Always.
We could all be selling insurance out there, but
Wow.
look at us. We get to talk some draft.
Yeah.
Phew.
What a blessed
No
life.
offense to the
What
insurance
a
salesman
blessed-
out there, but you're not super chill.
Shouts to those guys. Would love a great rate. Maybe sit down and sip a couple cold ones and figure something out. Make the most out of times you choose chill. Choose Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/DMVR. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. And, of course, Bet365.
The homies.
Our go-to for betting gaps. Hank and I cooking up some boosted SGPs.
Oh, we did. Has it been submitted? Not submitted yet.
No, we're going to do that.
We can't give the details quite yet. then.
Today. That's
Okay.
right. But, you know, Prop City up in here. We're doing it. Jaleel got us on the last one, but that's okay. No problem. My picks were on fire week 1. Your picks were on fire
2
like
weeks ago.
week 3.
Yeah.
Week 5 and is an extraordinary slate. And like, if you haven't already, now's the time to sign up. If you're riding with us, now's the time to ride, man. Use that code DMVR365 at sign up. Get in on their best offers right now. First bet $5, win, lose, or draw. Bang, 200 in bonus bets for you to play with. Must be 21 plus, physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Okay, other Broncos options. Lander Barton's a Utah linebacker.
Oh, okay.
Former Pac-12 freshman of the year. Dealt with some injuries last year, kind of picking it back up. Super rangy, 6'4", 230. Really intriguing. Honestly, though, not the best Alex Singleton replacement, but a 3-down backer who, we'll be watching all season as the Utes are working their way into the top 10 right now.
And the brother of,
Cody.
yes.
Crazy.
And I've heard, so then you also have on that same team, the brother of,
You got
brother-
it, Deshaun Vele.
nope, come on, guy, you got this one.
Devontae Booker's brother? I don't know.
No. Current Broncos, little brother on that team.
Not Garrett
Bowles?
Bowles.
No.
How many Utes do we have?
Oh, come
So
on.
many.
He's
So
been
many.
slanging that thing.
Help us, check.
That thing being the football.
Jonah?
Throwing the football?
They're throwing the football.
Throwing the
Who's Cam Rising's backup? There we go. Zach
Oh, it
Wilson's
is.
Yes,
Yes, it is. I
Oh,
forgot
you
about
talked
it.
to Next. Yes.
Connection.
Yes, no. What is his name? No. I got it.
Dak Wilson?
No, not Dak Wilson. Oh no, I'm really struggling.
Hold on, Hank. I'm coming to the rescue here.
These guys got it.
No, those
well,
two have
you
been talking
figure
about
that
their little
out.
brothers.
I was also
Isaac Wilson.
Isaac
I got you.
Wilson.
Yes.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Also, I'm betting against the Utes this week, but that's a conversation. for
We're
later.
gonna get to that.
Segment
I know,
3,
I know,
we're
but
gonna
I
get
just-
to
I
that.
like- that's one I really like.
Other options in the teens: Malachi Starks, safety
Ooh,
from
yeah,
Georgia.
dog. It's finally his time.
Yes, it really could be. Hankster. What about if we went interior defensive line, Walter Nolan or Howard Cross at Notre Dame? Those guys are
Yes.
having monster seasons.
Yes.
Cornerbacks out, Hank. We're official on that. We've moved
Maybe
on.
not official. Maybe I mean we got 14 weeks before we have to decide. Let's use it. You know.
Okay,
I think
right.
it's probably official, but
This is about a contingency plan after. Gosh, that's giving me trouble.
Jaquan McMillan's boy, cornerback from ECU, who just tore his ACL, which was actually
Yeah,
a
we jinxed him on
This
the
is a
last
sensitive
show.
subject right here.
We brought him
Oh,
up,
really?
and then he like effed up
We
his
are
ACL.
responsible.
And
It actually, Jaquan did not handle it. He was a little disappointed as well. But I haven't said his name before.
Siobhan Ravel.
oh my
Siobhan Ravel.
This
That's
guy.
right. There we go.
just an angel falling from the sky with that
I
pronunciation.
try, bro.
Good
Probably
job.
not a first-round pick at this point, though, because of the ACL, you would imagine.
But had a dope pick 6 a couple weeks ago.
Offensive tackle. I wonder if offensive tackle pick 6, nonetheless. You know, the top guys could drop. We're doing that
Yep.
thing where we're poo-pooing the top guys because that's, you know, it's a tradition. But Kelvin Banks is only 6'4". Like, he might be better off as a guard.
Yep.
You know, Will Campbell, he has some things to clean up still. I saw Simmons, the left tackle for Ohio State, starting to climb up boards. Georgia's O-line's going to be get a really nice test against Bama this week. And then, you know, I think wide receiver and edge are always in the
Yeah.
mix, but it's probably that next tier of guys, right? So how would you feel about an Emeka Egbuka? How would you feel about Tre Harris,
Yeah.
who's lighting it up at
Yep.
Ole Miss with Jackson Dart, even though they have yet to face any real competition?
Yep.
He reminds me a bit of another TH initials, T. Higgins. Tre
I can see
Harris
that.
does.
Yeah,
Yes.
he's long. Yep.
Would Isaiah Bond in Sean Payton's hands
Yes.
be such a dynamic, Xavier Worthy type playmaker? Or is that too much of a luxury for the Broncos, you know? Nick Scruton, you've been really high on him.
Yep.
Kind of the best next edge.
Yep.
If
Always
he
be
lasts
Scruton.
to the mid-teens, would you be in on him?
Yeah. And same with Princely Umanamilian.
Yes, the Ole Miss edge,
He's a
former
monster.
Florida. We know all about him, though we do not know how to pronounce his last name.
I'm
Wow,
trying. I even play with Ole Miss in CFB 25, and I have no idea how to say the guy's name.
Yeah, no, if you're looking at me for guidance, you've got the wrong guy. One of my favorites, Deion Walker, big
Yeah.
boy from Kentucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big nose tackle.
Yeah, well, I was actually going to bring up the
Freakless.
Michigan guys, the Michigan defensive
Yep.
tackles.
Yep.
The Broncos, again, the defensive line looks insane because you've
Mason
got
Graham,
you've
Grant.
got Zach Allen, you got John Franklin Myers, you got DJ
Yes,
Jones. Well,
yes.
DJ Jones's contract is up after this year, and can you really be spending more money there? Maybe
Preach.
because he looks awesome and he's kind of the third. But what if you just go get one of these guys instead?
Right.
Does that help the ceiling in the long run? I wouldn't mind seeing that.
Yeah, and as we know, Sean Payton, how does he build a team?
Inside out.
Inside out, baby. Bill Parcells' way. So I think you just a little extra attention to D linemen, O linemen. Because when in doubt, you're going to go
Trench it out.
build it. Oh my God.
Rare form.
Text that to D line right now. When in doubt, trench it out. New Broncos, sure. I mean, that's fair.
Okay.
That's
Well, he
actually
really got back
that's
to you quickly.
that's fair insights right there. Guys, want to talk about the most incredible college football player I've probably ever seen?
You
Travis
guys
Hunter.
been watching Junior Bergen? Oh,
Who?
Junior Bergen? 3 off the
Montana guy.
all-time NCAA return record, touchdown record.
Who's this?
He's Junior Bergen. He's an absolute monster. And with the new kick return
Does he
rules,
play
he's going
for
to be drafted.
Montana?
He sure does.
Hell yeah.
They don't.
That's sick.
What? He had 3 return touchdowns in the playoff run last year. Most insane football player I've ever seen.
I guess we potentially have two best guys.
Okay.
I was thinking more Travis Hunter.
Oh, okay.
The noise for Travis Hunter at wide receiver getting louder and louder and louder and louder. How could it not? Recently saw a CBS mock that had 2 overall at wide receiver. And
That's more like it.
as I'm watching Malik Nabers break out for the Giants, what a terrible situation to be drafted
Yeah.
in. Just a phenom to be breaking out in that setting. It just reminds me so much of Travis. And it's
Yeah.
that compete level of the point of attack. When the ball's in the air, it's that attitude of, that's mine. I will go get it by any and all means possible. It doesn't matter that I might be smaller. I just have that compete. I have that instinct. I have those ball hawking. Just think about me, and I go get it. And we've seen it so much this season from Travis.
And the bunnies in the athleticism. I mean, those guys can jump out of the gym, man.
Right, and that makes up for the speed is being a freak athlete.
And
Or
they're
the size, I'm sorry. That makes up for the size
Yes.
is being a freak athlete.
both of them have ridiculous after the catch ability too. I think that was my favorite thing about Nabers coming out last year, and why I liked him so much. He was my favorite receiver coming out of last year's class, and it's just. As you said, to see a guy go into this situation with a quarterback that everyone just can't wait to see Daniel Jones leave this team, and to see the Giants draft another quarterback, well, he's still just going out there and producing. I mean, we're still only 3 weeks in, 4 weeks in, whatever we are. But I
What
think
he's doing
Travis-
is really impressive.
Travis could have a similar, impact next year at wide receiver. He's that good.
Completely agree.
Yep. Yeah, I totally agree too. I think maybe we didn't talk about enough, but Malik Nabers was just ready to go.
Yeah.
Like that athleticism shows up and it just opens things up so much. The run after catch ability is just, I mean, it's freaky. And so day one, you get to benefit from that. And Marvin Harrison Jr.'s had a solid start. I mean, 3 games, almost 200 receiving yards. He might be somebody whose game just ages really well.
Right.
Where, yes, he's good right away, but 6 years from now, when he's learned like all the little tricks and the ins and outs and how to get positions and the way that he's going to run different, like he might be somebody who we just look at as getting better and better and better. Similar to like a veteran Marvin Harrison, a veteran Larry Fitzgerald type, where it's like this guy is just so, he knows how to use all these different attributes he has and can beat you so many different ways, and that's why you can just go to him every single play. Whereas Malik Nabers, you put him on a football field, he's just a freak. You get him the ball, he's going to make something happen. You want to throw it deep, you can throw it deep. And I think Travis Hunter has a lot of that in him too.
100%. Just that playmaker gene. And the more wide receivers are so interesting, right? A lot of it's balancing that speed and hands, and then how size factor in, using their body. But the more I do this, the more I'm really drawn to guys who have that compete level, man, who won't let you cover them to start the route at the top of the route. And then at the end of the route, it's just like that skill of, making a 50-50 ball, an 80-20 ball.
Yep.
And Hunter has that. Nabers has that.
That dog.
Yeah, no, I mean, and it's what I loved about Jamar Chase. It's what we all loved about like Steve Smith.
Right.
It's what made Anquan Bolden, despite running a 4.7, just a phenomenal wide receiver. There's just, I really think it's a common trait. You just want it.
I mean, and this trait translates across positions too.
Well, that's I've never seen a ball hawk like him at corner.
Yes.
Yeah.
His ability to read plays and go off the route he's covering and break on another route of another wide receiver as the ball is in midair. His mind, eyes, ability to adjust mid-play is a massive outlier.
The dude loves football. He's a football junkie. He watches more film than anyone on the team.
No doubt.
He picks the brains of legends that Coach Prime brings into the program, other legends who just reach out to him. Like, he just loves the game, and he wants to keep getting better, and he wants to prove he's the best.
100%. And I'll be honest, it's hard to balance this weekly draft pod and not talk about him every week, because I think sometimes it can be a little boring. But when you are studying this kind of transcendent talent, a guy who, I just like, I just haven't been this confident or this secure in an evaluation because his floor is probably higher than any guy I've ever studied.
He's the closest to a can't miss prospect I think I've ever seen in my life.
Right.
Yeah.
Crazy, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
Just
he makes
crazy.
32 out of 32 NFL teams better if he's on their roster.
No
Without a
doubt.
doubt.
Then the
At
other
two premium positions, potentially.
Yeah.
the other position is part is that if he flames out, you still have the other side of the ball.
Yes.
You know, and this is something.
No, that's why his
who was
floor
it?
is just like through the roof, man.
Who's the old Rockies GM? It's like 10 years ago.
O'Dowd.
Yes.
Dan O'Dowd.
I was listening to him talk about some of the two-way prospects in the MLB draft.
Yes.
And that's what he said, is that like you don't take these guys thinking you're going to get an awesome pitcher and an awesome batter.
Yes.
The big perk is that you do whatever he's best at, and if he's a better pitcher, you get to run him as a pitcher. And if 2 years in you say, it's not really going well,
Yeah.
well then you have a backup plan.
Yep.
It's like a 2-for-1. You get
Yep.
2 tickets, and that's the piece with Travis Hunter that I think just takes him over the top, because obviously has the athleticism.
1000%.
He's made so many plays on offense, the plays on defense. I mean, the fact that he forced that fumble, the game-winning
Oh my
fumble,
God,
that's an
bro.
insane
Just
play to make.
nuts.
And that's not luck. That's a skill. You know,
No,
we saw
1000%.
Riley Moss make that same play with the Broncos
Right.
the next day, where he gets down low, just gets a shoulder in there, knocks the ball out. That's a veteran smart play. He might be a great cornerback. You play him there, it doesn't work out. Oh, well, guess what? You get to try him at receiver too.
And on top of that, the wide receiver and cornerback, those are the two positions you need to roster the most guys at.
Yeah, it's
like
true.
everyone needs a fourth corner. Everyone needs a fourth wide receiver.
Yep.
You're going to go to that guy over the span of an NFL season.
Yep.
Guaranteed.
Yep.
Oh, man, it's just crazy. Well, talking about transcendent talents, I mean, Raising Cane's,
The goats.
chicken fingers. That's a transcendent talent right there.
Wow.
The combo of Cane's with the slaw, the Texas toast, the cane sauce. That's transcendent. That's like Trav playing offense and defense right there. Just incredible stuff. Juicy, crispy, always made to order. My mouth is just watering. That's what I want for lunch.
Can we go?
I don't have meetings the rest of the day. You want to just like
Whoa.
I'd be
Cane's
down.
trip?
do it? Cane's trip?
Kind of down.
I'm
You
also
guys
kinda
use your
down.
platforms to create content off it. We're doing it. And it's
Oh,
on me.
Cane's-
No, do you one better?
Let's go.
It's not on
Then
me.
we're going.
It's on Cane's because I've got some koopies upstairs.
Let's go.
Cane's
Yeah,
trip.
yeah, free schedule the rest of the day. Cane's,
Cane's trip.
Cane's run with the
Oh,
boys.
my
Hell yeah.
Let's go.
Oh.
That's how it's done. For cook to order, hand battered chicken fingers with the boys. Race into Raising Cane's. Turbocharge your chicken fingers and get them even faster by ordering online at raisingcanes.com through their mobile app. Raising Cane's chicken fingers. One love, baby. You guys know what's up. And then, of course, it's that time. It's that time where the DMVR bar, 'tis the mecca of DMVR sports. Saturday, Sunday, rowdy crowds, lit times, and then Saturdays and Sundays, depending on what's going on, Buffs tailgates, Broncos tailgates, lit. Lifetime memory is being created every single weekend out here. The only time you can get in on that, thedmvr.com/events. When you see me do this, consider mirror image, right? It's the camera. So you'll be typing it like this. So yeah, of course, next Buffs tailgate, you already know, K-State.
2 weeks.
Better come prepared. You guys know about the old Big 8 rivalry.
Yeah.
Like, you're ball knowers, you're watching this. So obviously you got to come, and you got to come correct, ready to have some great times, root on your Buffs. Same with the Broncos. Best tailgates in town, and the back lot of the old Sports Fan at 18th and Federal, right there. All sorts of lit food, lit times, early games on all the TVs. Just epic times. So get in on it. There you go. There's a little QR code for you. There's the URL spelled out, showing you the dash in the right order. What's better than this? So
Broncos
DMVR
tailgates are
events.
some of my favorite parts of football season.
You're like
Yeah.
you're a big tailgates guy. I love that
it,
about
man.
you.
I love it.
Also, I mean, I got these Buffs tailgates I've been to. the community
Dre is famous there.
and the love that I feel from those people. Bless you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. My people truly, I cannot say enough of how much I appreciate you all. Just incredible. So, anything more on Travis Hunter? Hank, you're the one guy we haven't had an opinion yet on this yet. Gun to your head, wide receiver, cornerback. And how do you think that split ski could work in the NFL?
So whenever I've thought about him as a Bronco.
Hell
and
yeah.
so the answer is receiver.
Rightfully
All I
so.
can
And so-
imagine is the meme. It's Lexi in bed, like I bet he's thinking about
Wow.
other women, and he's like, I've
did
been
that-
thinking about Travis Hunter.
There was one of those recent. Oh, this is Charlie Blackman.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, but
Hell
she was
yeah.
like, talk, and I was like, Charlie's retiring. Like,
Right.
I'm sorry, I just don't have much to give here other than Charlie's retiring. It's an emotional time.
Right.
Turned out to not be football related, which was tough for the pod. But
Right.
yeah, no, I'm again having only looked at him as a Bronco, it's been all receiver. But
God, I love it.
no, I think big picture that's what you do. I think big picture that's what you
Has to
do.
be.
I think I've heard people talk about it and say it's a lot easier to have him as a defensive player within the system and then just kind of throw him in there for a couple gadget plays. I don't even know if that's true.
No, I think the other way
I
is
think
easier.
I think
it's easier to throw him in like 5 key third downs.
exactly. It's third downs.
Be like, I don't know, your dime corner,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, like he's in that dime, I
Yeah.
can't throw it at him, you know?
Well, and the crazy thing is like I don't even know that you like then put him on their number one. It's just like this change up where it's like, again, from a Broncos perspective, it's okay. So we have this week. This week's a tough one. Last week you have Pat on Mike Evans. You have Riley on
Godwin.
You still have Jaquan in there doing whatever, and then you get to just put Travis Hunter on like their number 3, number 4, whoever
Right.
it may be, and boom, like all of a sudden,
Yeah.
what do you do?
Yeah.
Well, and then think of it from a coaching perspective. Wouldn't it be easier
Yes.
to design an offense around Travis Hunter than
Yes.
just say, go cover this guy
Right.
for 8 plays a game? As
Exactly.
opposed to having him, be obviously key player on your defense, then having to create a whole package to make sure
Right.
that the juice is worth the squeeze when he's on offense.
Right, and it's much easier to just plug him into dime packages and full-time wide receiver, and I
Yeah.
think that's a workload that probably is manageable.
Yeah.
That's probably 20% of defensive snaps, 95 of offensive snaps. That's doable.
Yep.
Because 100 in the NFL just
He's not going to
like
play at
I mean
100
it's
snaps.
already absurd that he is able to make these game-breaking plays while I mean that's the thing that makes me think his ceiling is just out of this effing world, man.
Hank was
Because,
talking
like-
about the fumble. That was his last play of the
Right.
game. He's 140 plays in.
What if he could do it full time? I mean, he has twice the workload that anyone else he is competing against on the field has, and he's still dominating. He's still the best guy on. My mind,
Yeah.
having done this for a decade plus now, cannot comprehend. Like, I can comprehend it, but I can't really comprehend it. Right?
No, I totally
I
get
mean,
it.
it's just my mind can't
Dude,
fully
I watch it in
wrap
person
around
every
it.
week, and it doesn't make sense to me.
Right. It's nuts. It's nuts. So again, I don't want to be over the top. I'm not trying to, but it is such an outlier and so special and cool that we're all here and you have all the access and Hank's, close to the program and we're all just locked in and watching every single snap. I'm just of the mentality of like, enjoy it because you're never
Yeah,
going to see one
absolutely.
like this again.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
just enjoy it, and I want to make sure we at least give him some time on this pod,
I've
especially
got-
coming off the nutty week he
Yeah.
came off of.
I've got a twist.
Hell
So-
yeah.
There hasn't been a receiver who's played every snap of offense so far this season.
Okay.
There have been corners.
In the NFL?
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
There have been 10 games where there's been a receiver who's played every snap on offense.
Okay.
Realistically, if you're like a number 1 receiver, you're on the field, 90, little maybe more than 90% of the time, not much more.
Yeah, it's low 90s, high 80s, right?
Yep. And
Because
then
anytime those
defensively,
guys
though,
make a big reception, they're out
Totally.
taking a breather.
well, I mean, defensively, corners play every snap. Does that mean there might be more value in having them play? If you had to pick one or the other, defense, just because top guys do play they're always on the field.
I mean, I don't necessarily think it's that, though, because, I mean, think of the NFL. How many times do teams line up for a quarterback sneak on 3rd or 4th and 1? How many times do they bring in a fullback and extra tight end, just run 22, and they just have their tallest wide receiver out there, just because that's what they just want to do at that point?
Pat, for example, never comes off the field because even in their heaviest goal line package, it's a one corner package, and Pat is that corner.
Exactly, yeah.
It doesn't change my valuation, but I don't know.
The
You do
o-
see corners on the field more often than receivers.
The other dream scenario is full-time offense. The defensive scheme is a zone-heavy defensive scheme, which is going to be less taxing than man. And then, I mean, obviously, like, if you were drafting for a zone-heavy scheme, you wouldn't waste a top 5 pick on a cornerback.
Probably
Because
not.
like that's the old Tampa 2,
Yeah.
like that's the old
Seattle.
Ron Rivera, cover threes.
Yeah.
Like you're just not, you can find the Richard Shermans, the Josh Normans, which is the Barber brother that was the corner?
Tiki, or
Rondé.
Rondé.
Rondé Barber, right, in the later rounds, and they can execute those epic zone schemes that every one of those guys I lifted off was because they were an epic zone defenses.
You don't need the elite physical traits.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
But if he just has to moonlight as a zone corner, and you can really lean into the instincts and the eyes and everything,
Yeah.
forget it, man.
Yeah.
And I keep wanting to say, like, he has more value as a zone corner, even because that's where the playmaking shows up.
No,
That's
he
where the ball
does.
skills-
1,000%.
But then you also, like, he can't just lock up a number one
exactly.
receiver. And
Of
that might be
course,
more
he's-
valuable.
no, that is more valuable.
You know?
But
so-
like he would be more freaky in his own scheme.
He might be.
I mean, that's
That's
just
the thing. Like, just name football positions, schemes. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. He can
Yep.
do it
That's
at
the
a
thing.
freakish level we've never seen before. Basically in all sectors.
Yep.
It's
That's the thing.
stupid.
Yep.
I said he could start and probably play for 32 out of 32 NFL teams. I mean, and that's legit.
That's the other. He is need. You've got a need. Doesn't matter with this kid.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, you plug him in anywhere, ask him to do whatever, whether it's
Done.
on offense or defense. You want him to return the football, you could
Yep.
probably throw him back there, and he's your most dynamic
Play him
returner.
at free safety. You're getting a bunch
I mean,
of picks if you play him at free safety.
You talk about his ability in zone and ability
Yep.
to read coverages, just use his instincts and eyes. If you put him at safety, that it's like Derwin James back in his prime in college. Like he'd be able to do that type of stuff too. I'm
Yep.
sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's a unicorn. He's a football unicorn.
I'm running out of words. He's just amazing. It gets me really excited.
Yeah, he's the best.
I was going to do a little topic in this segment, but we went log in segment 1 about, breakout NFL teams. And the list I compiled was all teams with retread quarterbacks, which I found interesting. But you know what, Hank? Next time you come back, we'll talk about
we'll
that
run
a
through
little
it.
more.
Cheap quarterbacks. They're the way to go. Spending
Helps.
spending $50 million for the 8th best quarterback, you're not gonna be happy with it.
Well, one of those teams is Seattle, whose path is very similar to Detroit. Like you've got the retread, but you also were able to load up with a big trade
Yep.
that gave you multiple high picks. Minnesota's the outlier because they
mean,
did spend a top 10 pick
course.
on a quarterback. And I mean, this rookie class, like devastating. You lose one of your your top pick to a season-ending injury. You lose a lot of the top 100 guy. I mean, just tragic. He's deceased.
Yeah.
And yet
Yep.
they're still here where they are. Jordan Addison's been injured. Doesn't matter.
He's in trouble
Yep.
with the law too. I
Yeah,
think.
and I mean they pulled off a Kevin O'Connell. They pulled off the Daniel Hunter trade.
Danielle Hunter, yeah.
Danielle, so they had that multiple firsts thanks to
Right.
that. But I mean, and then Tampa and New Orleans are really interesting test cases. Mm-hmm. And I also wonder, is it easier for the retread teams to look good in September and come December? That's where the teams who do have those franchise quarterbacks separate themselves and have closed that gap.
On the Vikings.
Please.
Kirk Cousins, you just take his winning percentage with the Vikings, on average would come out to like 9.7 wins per season.
Uh huh.
Pretty
Okay.
good.
Yeah.
What if what if Sam Darnold is a fine quarterback? What if Kirk Cousins isn't all he's cracked up to be? And then you factor in, hey, you get another $30 million to spend elsewhere on the roster. Again, 3-0 is really impressive. Nobody could have seen it coming, but
Right.
I wonder if maybe the gap between those two quarterbacks isn't that big. But again, gap between retread money and proven, again, 9-10 win quarterback money
Yeah.
is massive.
Oh, I mean, you still have to factor in JJ's money, I think, too.
Yeah, it's true.
Every time I
Maybe
watch Kirk
7 million?
Cousins,
Yeah, it's a top 10 first-round pick, right? It's around
Yeah.
that.
every week when I watch Kirk Cousins, especially on Arthur Blank induction into his own Ring of Honor, like
Yeah.
bless that guy. Also, I'd like to announce that I have been inducted into the DMVR Ring of Honor.
Congrats,
So
Dre.
blessings to all that made the nominations, which
Gonna
is
name yourself Employee of the Month.
the GM at DMVR, which is me. That's right. Right, we are canceling that. Every week I watch Kirk Cousins, I think they didn't make an offer for Lamar Jackson in free agency the year prior.
Yep.
Crazy, man. Just nuts.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just nuts.
Just
He's
quick
fine.
thoughts.
No more than fine, though.
Just quick thoughts on the retreads and kind of the teams just doing well right now. I think that the retreads are obviously a crucial part of it, but it's because of what they've been through. I think in multiple ways. Not only I think are they hungry to like prove people wrong, but these guys have been around the NFL for so long and have seen so much and have learned from so much. Geno Smith being one of the biggest examples. He sat behind a lot of guys who played a lot of football. He was able to pick a lot of brains, and I think that kind of frees up your coaching staff to say, okay, we can obviously want to do what he does well, but we can kind of do whatever we want, as opposed to a rookie where it's like we really have to focus on making sure he's established here. We got this running game. We got this going. We have to roll out this way, on third down. This is what we got to do. I don't think you have that when you have these type of veteran quarterbacks.
It's a great point, and it's why we talk about, you need the athleticism to get you through that early transition
Right.
as a young quarterback to then reach that point where the game slowed down and between the ears you can perform or maybe we're just learning we are super impatient
That
and
too.
guys like Sam Darnold, Geno Smith, Baker Mayfield, Derek Carr, which I think there's a bit more, but maybe we're never as bad as they were now made out to be, maybe aren't quite as good as they look now, and they just needed some patience to grow into the toughest position in all of sports to play.
And again, it all comes back to cap hits for me. $26 million cap hit for Geno this year.
Yeah.
Pretty big, but half of the normal rate.
Yep.
5 for Sam Darnold, 12 for Derek Carr, I think 7 for Baker, 6.9 for Baker. You're paying those guys that kind of money. Again, some of those guys have longer contracts, so it's going to go up. But that's another $40 million that you get to spend on your roster this year.
Similar to a rookie
Crazy.
capped quarterback.
Just throw a couple Pro Bowlers on the
Makes a
team.
huge
Right, exactly.
Right,
Yeah.
100%. Week 5, man, all timer, great
Let's
great
go.
week. We're gonna go in chronological order. We're going straight to the Saturday slate because I don't know, Virginia Tech, Miami, not too intrigued. Kentucky at Ole Miss, 17-point favorites. The Rebels are. That's still their mascot.
Yes. For
What
now.
a and they haven't been tested yet. Kentucky not good. Old brother Stoops not
No.
performing any miracles, but they did give Georgia a scare.
They
A
did.
lot of money, or a lot of points.
So does Ole Miss cover the 17 at home? Jackson Dart, Tre Harris.
Antoine
Their
Wells.
running back's been awesome. They've got tons of talent. D-line's loaded up.
Yep.
Takes on this.
Give me Ole Miss. I think that I think they've switched tiers. I think that you kind of go through college football and there's like there's that tier of like maybe 4 teams at the top, maybe it's only 3 teams at the top, and then there's the tier like they could give them a run, and there's like maybe 8 more. I think Ole Miss maybe jumped up into that tier, whereas before they weren't there. They have a quarterback, they have a coach, they got talent across the roster. I think that this is one where they can just beat Kentucky in every phase of the game, and 17, if I had to pick a side, I got Ole Miss.
I agree. I'm taking the Rebels. They might have a better quarterback than Georgia.
I agree.
It's a great point and something to watch. From a draft perspective, give me Kentucky to cover. I
Ooh.
think Mississippi's played a JV schedule, and
That is fair.
the bump up in competition will be a bit of a shocker early. 53 on the total, though, maybe the better bet. If you're a Kentucky believer, go under, which is what I shall be doing. Ranked matchup, Oklahoma State at Kansas State. KSU, 5-point favorites, 11 a.m. game. Oklahoma State coming off their first loss of the season against the Utes. Interesting teams, well-coached teams. Not a ton of high-end draft talent, but some regulars. The fact that you say no and Ollie Gordon's on one of these two teams tell you how much he has dropped off.
Yep.
And yeah. Again, this feels a little rich to me, and I'm leaning towards the plus side here, being the Cowboys +5. How do you see it, boys?
I will do the same. Both teams coming off a pretty bad loss. I don't think Alan Bowman's great.
BYU got him.
Yeah, BYU got K-State, and then Utah battled the Cowboys. But
Indeed.
We talked about Avery Johnson a lot this offseason, and I can't buy in still. I think they have the better quarterback, Oklahoma State does. And I don't care that they're on the road. Give me the Cowboys.
I lean that way. I mean, it's tough part for me is that I watched that Utah game, and I mean Utah just wiped the floor with them. The thing is, it was kind of even worse for Kansas State against BYU though, and so like you said, both coming off terrible losses. Maybe this is an under.
That's a good one.
Maybe this is just
The number's 56.
sometimes I mistake
That's
not
a good
having any
one.
interest in the game with just bet the under, but I think that this is I go under here. Or does Ollie Gordon get back on track? Either way, you're running
Kind of
ball. I got
under the radar defenses. Those quarterbacks
Yep.
are flawed, but it is a better quarterback matchup than most. Torn on this one, but I lean towards Okie State. I would love it way more if Kansas State was not coming off a loss. However,
Yep.
on Wisconsin at Fight On, that's Wisconsin at USC. Trojans 15.5-point favorites. Another two teams coming off tough losses last week. Badgers getting battered by
Bama,
and USC losing to LSU.
USC lost to Michigan.
Yeah.
Oh, right. They beat LSU.
They
I'm
did.
sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
15 points is a lot.
That is a lot.
But I also think USC just is so much more explosive. I mean, that Wisconsin-Alabama game, I actually credit Wisconsin. Like, they kind of held up as well as they could. It was just inevitable that they were not anywhere close to that level. And when you're just that outmatched in the trenches, it's tough to imagine you're going to show up against USC and be able to be so dominant you stay in the game. I'm torn. I mean, it's a lot of points, but I don't think I could take those and say Wisconsin can keep it close.
Yeah, this is kind of a styles make fights type of game.
Oh,
And I hate it, so I think I'm taking the Badgers.
nice. 15.5. Way too rich.
Yeah.
Lincoln Riley at USC has not given me that type of confidence ever. So we will not. I will 3 picks in a row be on the plus side of the spread.
I hate it, though.
I know.
That's a gross bet.
Oh, yeah. It's disgusting. I don't want to be betting my money on Wisconsin.
No.
It's a fickle proposition, if you know what I mean. Luke Fickell's their coach.
If they go down early, they're screwed, though.
Oh, they're donezo.
Wisconsin might only score
But also,
13 points in this game regardless.
USC's back 7 might not want to tackle, so
Yeah.
Wisconsin not the greatest opponent
Totally.
if you don't like tackling.
Totally.
I think they're like
touching it.
lesser Michigan, but styles make fights, and I think
Yep.
Wisconsin's style is going to be harder for them
Exactly.
than vice versa.
Fair.
Louisville at Notre Dame, two mid-ranked teams. You've got the Irish favored by 6.5. Gotta tell you, Notre Dame not impressing me much. Riley Leonard, first and foremost. So yeah, another one where I'm inclined to take the road dog against the spread.
I'll take Notre Dame. Again, this is one that's probably better to be just a stay away. But I go back to, like, Notre Dame's offense sucks. Their defense is solid.
Preach.
I can't pick Louisville to... I'm going to feel really dumb if Louisville just gets manhandled and this turns out to be, 27-6.
Yeah.
Right.
But it just would feel like such an upset for Louisville to actually pull it out. I'll say it's a close game, but Notre Dame wins it by at least 7. Ugh.
Yeah, I think I'm going to take Notre Dame here as well.
Yeah.
Just the defense for me, I think.
Doing this reminds me how many college football games are just disgusting.
Oh, it's great.
Like, you
isn't
have
it?
your
It's
handful where you're
so
like, oh, this
good.
is good.
Amazing.
But there's so many where it's like, oh, gross.
It's so good.
It's why the Sicko committee really works
Yeah.
best
Yeah.
for our beautiful sport. Arkansas A&M, I'm not going to make you pick that, but
Yeah,
we
cool.
should be watching Jaquindon Jackson, star running back for the Razorbacks, as they take on number 24 Texas A&M. Next game, Georgia Alabama. Tis time. This is a great one. 6:30 Mountain. Dogs favored by 2.
on the road.
Jalen Milroe, Carson Beck, some of the best O-line prospects in this class, some of the best front 7 prospects in this class, some of the best quarterback prospects in this class. This could be an early leader for most watched tape of the 2025
Yep.
Yes.
draft cycle. Of course, when you select the most watched tape, you got to pick: is it O-line v D-line or D-line v O-line? Gosh, I don't know. I'm maybe becoming a DeBoer believer.
Okay, my initial reaction was to go with Alabama,
Yeah.
just because of Milroe.
Yes.
But I think Georgia has the athletes to kind of contain Milroe on defense.
And the other side of the coin is, how much are you a Carson Beck believer?
Which I'm not.
Do you
big.
back Beck is what everyone's asking. I almost sang a Beck song. Thank God I didn't do
Wow.
I'll
that.
take the home team, who are dogs, but they are not the Bulldogs.
Hell yeah.
I'll take Alabama.
Wow.
Roll Tide.
I got Bama too. Kentucky. Georgia just went to Kentucky, and Kentucky covered 2.5. It's a 1-point game.
Yep.
Ball knower.
I think that both these teams, obviously good in the trenches. I think I can trust Bama to just go out there. They've been in the fight. They've won the fight when they played Wisconsin. I think that. I think there's a lot of ties when you just look at this, but you just lean. I lean Jalen Milroe over Carson Beck. A lot of leanings for Bama. I'll ride with Bama. Give me the money line. I'm not messing with the points.
Love it.
2.5. If I'm not getting 3, give me the money line.
Yeah, I'm about it.
They're at home.
Kirby's getting tested.
Yeah.
Yep. Another ranked matchup. You wouldn't think it from the spread. Illinois at Penn State. This line 19.5, 18 actually on Bet365, and I'm told whiteout at State Penn.
That is right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Abdul Carter, Drew Aller, the biggest guys to watch. Again, we're not going to focus too much because the spread's so big.
Yeah.
And we're going to close it out with Arizona at Utah. T-Mac and the prospects at Arizona against Utah alone is worth watching this one. Utes, though, at home, 10-point favorites. I think I'm laying the points. This is where I take the faves.
I'm taking Utah as well. This defense is going to create havoc against Noah Fafita.
Hell yeah.
Give me the points. I love Utah. I'm a believer.
I know. I
that's a
wish
lot
I
of points.
was heavier on Utah preseason.
Yeah.
I'm seeing what they're doing, and I'm like, duh.
Yeah.
Cam's not playing.
We just got to move on with our lives, as he has. He
Yeah.
doesn't.
He'll be
He
back.
seems chill about
He'll
it.
be back.
He ain't rushing anything.
Gotta get that medical red shirt.
2 best years of his life the last 2 years.
The best 8
Shout
years
out
of
to
his
Cam.
life.
Alan Bowman v. Cam Rising,
Oh, it's coming.
older combined age, Then what
Caleb
was this?
Williams, Anthony Richardson.
It was yes. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so
That's a
that was
fun one.
fun. That's
That
a
was
fun
a
one.
Yeah.
Look at us, right on time, all the time. From Toyota Lounge, thank you all in the Toyota chat for being participating. Leave us the old thumbs up. We are
We all silly like the mayor.